Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into an absolutely incredible underdog story. We're going to break down exactly how a 12-year-old farm boy and an unwanted, notoriously dangerous rogue horse managed to conquer the highly exclusive, super elite world of thoroughbred racing. It's really a masterclass in resilience, and I am so excited to guide you through exactly how they pulled the whole shebang off.
I want to kick things off with this powerful quote from the source text. Legends are forged in mud, pain, and unbreakable will. You know, we constantly see the polished trophies and the glamorous winner circles, but we rarely see the absolute grit required to actually get there. Today, we're unpacking what it truly takes to overcome insurmountable odds.
All right, Section 1. Two cast-offs find each other, with their rural Kentucky beginnings.
This unlikely partnership didn't start in some million-dollar facility, it started on Old Man Whitaker's failing farm. And look at the mountainous odds stacked against young Tommy Harlan right from the jump. We are talking deep, deep poverty. His mom was working 2 jobs, and the bank was literally circling their family farm. He's only 12 years old, grieving the tragic loss of his father from a tractor accident, and he had absolutely zero formal training or elite racing connections. These barriers immediately established him as a complete outsider to the polished world of Churchill Downs.
Now check out this timeline because it brilliantly illustrates the multi-year grind. At age 12, Tommy meets Thunder, a horse so dangerous he'd already put 3 grown men in the hospital. By 14, they're riding bareback together. Tommy's figuring out that balance and trust matter way more than brute strength. That same year, Thunder actually loses a claiming race under a hired rider. Then, driven by pure necessity at age 15, Tommy lies about his age just to exercise horses at a Louisville stable. He doesn't officially get his license until 16, so success was definitely not overnight.
Moving right along to Section 2, rising against the odds and breaking into the elite world.
25-1. Let that staggeringly high number sink in for a second. That was the number on the odds board at Keeneland for Tommy's first official race. Riding for a pretty skeptical owner named Reginald Voss, absolutely nobody expected anything from the skinny kid in faded silks. But Tommy didn't fight the horse for control. He had this unique, flowing riding style. He just let Thunder find his stride, slicing right through traffic, leading them to a stunning 3-length upset.
You really have to picture the stark contrast here between these two colliding worlds. On one side, you have the aristocracy. We're talking Saudi consortiums, legendary trainers like Harlan Graves, perfect bloodlines, and unlimited resources. On the other side, 16-year-old Tommy, a kid sleeping on a cot above a tack room, riding a dangerous horse bought for a pittance. It is the ultimate showdown of pedigree versus sheer, unadulterated heart.
Which brings us to Section 3, the devastating setback, injury and resilience.
Right when they were starting to win stakes races, disaster hit. A horrific training collision threw Tommy, leaving him with cracked ribs and a fractured wrist. The doctors literally declared he would never ride at the elite level again because of the pain and reduced grip strength. But Tommy completely defied medical science. He rehabilitated an absolute secret in his rented room, lifting makeshift weights and pushing through agonizing pain. He simply refused to give up.
And he didn't just rely on blind stubbornness, he used his head. Tommy analytically studied past champions like Secretariat and Affirmed to engineer a highly specific 3-part mechanical strategy for the Triple Crown. Step 1, short bursts of speed to prep for the Derby. Step 2, tactical patience and mental conditioning for the tighter Preakness. And Step 3, deep, long stamina work to survive the grueling Belmont. He essentially built a strategic roadmap.
All right, on to Section 4, the first 2 crowns, executing the strategy at the Derby and Preakness.
Thanks to a reclusive billionaire named Eleanor Kensington who bought Thunder outright, 19-year-old Tommy finally got to test the strategy. Look at this breakdown of the Kentucky Derby. The favorite, Eclipse, used front-running speed but lost by a nose. Midnight Steel pressed the pace and just faded. But Thunder? In front of 150,000 screaming fans, Tommy executed Step 1 flawlessly. He saved ground and used those trained short bursts for a late surge, winning by a nose and a photo finish.
Then, 2 weeks later in Baltimore, the Preakness Stakes was a totally different beast. It was a sloppy, muddy track, and rival trainer Harlan Graves was unleashing brutal psychological warfare and stirring up a media frenzy to rattle Tommy. But Tommy just fell back on his second tactical pillar, patience. He stayed relaxed, found a tiny hole on the rail in the mud, and surged through it to beat Midnight Steel by a length and a half.
And now, the climax of our explainer.
Section 5. The Belmont Stakes, known as the test of the champion.
It's a brutal mile-and-a-half race that breaks the spirit of most horses. Everyone was asking the exact same question. Could they actually do this? Keep in mind, Tommy's body was a map of pain. Doctors warned one more hard fall could be it. Plus, they were up against Royal Fortune, a fresh horse specifically trained for long distances by Harlan Graves. It was the ultimate variable.
The execution here was just extraordinary. Tommy paced Thunder perfectly for the first mile, but at the mile-and-a-quarter mark they are locked in a dead heat, a neck-and-neck duel with Royal Fortune. Fighting through tunneling vision and blinding physical pain, Tommy asked Thunder for absolutely everything, and Thunder responded. He found this reserve of courage that no bloodline could ever measure, pulling ahead to win the Triple Crown by 3 historic lengths.
Finally, Section 6, a champion's legacy, taking a look beyond the trophy.
The sheer pandemonium of that victory cemented them in history for sure. Tommy became the greatest rider of his generation, and Thunder retired as an ambassador to Kensington's farm. But the real structural impact? Tommy used his massive new platform to found an organization for underprivileged kids. He systematically dismantled the very barriers he had faced, making sure other kids in poverty could actually access the elite equestrian world. He changed the game from the inside out.
In his post-race interview, Tommy beautifully synthesized this whole case study of pedigree versus heart. He said, "I wasn't supposed to be here. None of us were. But dreams don't care about odds, they care about heart." It's just a phenomenal reminder that some fires burn their brightest when the world tries its hardest to snuff them out.
So as we wrap up this explainer on the mechanics of resilience, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. Think about your own life. What fences are you staring at, wondering if you'll ever get over them? Tommy and Thunder proved that with intellect, trust, and sheer heart, no fence is ever too high. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep learning.